Let's go over director and writer Rian Johnson and Star Wars The Last Jedi. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, in The Last Jedi, we had a lot of moments with Luke Skywalker and Rey. And looking at the whole entire concept of the Force in this movie, Rian Johnson made some changes here and there. Now, Rian Johnson, ever since the movie released back in December of 2017, there's been a lot of backlash going against The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson since then has been getting involved in many different interviews with multiple types of media out there, and in a recent interview by The Flickering Myth, he actually goes over the whole entire concept of the Force in The Last Jedi, and this is what he had to say, which, by the way, the full story can be found below in the description. Go ahead and check it out. But this is what Rian had to say. The lesson that Luke and Rey have where she feels the Force on the island was a scene that, well, especially for a younger generation for whom this trilogy is their introduction to Star Wars, I thought was very important. In the context of all the superhero movies that are out now, I wanted to have a scene where we stop and say that the Force is not a superpower and not just the ability to pull something across the room. The Force is this bigger spiritual idea. It's this connection between all living things, and it's more significant than just the ability to lift rocks. I felt like that was an important point to make. And aside from this interview, this was actually the main thought process that led Rian Johnson to not having Luke Skywalker taking out the ATM-6 walkers on the planet Crate, or even pulling down Star Destroyers. And he actually went over these ideas multiple times while he was writing the script. All these different ideas of Luke destroying the walkers on the battlefield of Crate, or even taking down Star Destroyers from the sky. The reason as to why Luke Skywalker didn't do that is because Rian Johnson wanted to approach the Force in the form of it not being a superpower at all whatsoever in The Last Jedi, especially with the main character of Luke Skywalker. And looking at all of this, guys, would you have rathered to have seen Luke Skywalker do something very much epic to the point where he's taking down Star Destroyers, where he's blowing up those walkers one by one just by using the thought in his mind? Would you guys have rathered something like that, or are you A-okay with what we got of Luke doing on the battlefield, where he's just a Force projection and the ATM-6 walkers are shooting right at him, and little do they know that he's actually not really there? Now, I will say one thing here is that it would have been more epic, in my opinion, if he was able to pull Star Destroyers from the sky, crash them down on top of the ATM-6 walkers, do something like that around those lines. That would have been pretty epic and would have served as a great action scene piece. But looking at what we got in the film, I also thought it was pretty epic to see Luke Skywalker getting shot at. On my first viewing, I didn't know he was really a Force projection. I kept thinking that maybe he was deflecting all of the blasts one by one, because I knew this wasn't the way Luke Skywalker was going to die, right? So, looking at all of this, once the dust settled and he was really there, you kind of got a little curious, right, as to what's really going on here, because you didn't really see him deflecting those blasts, so what's going on? And it was later, revealed that he's a Force projection. So I respect that idea. I just wish that there was actually a moment where both Kylo and Luke got to see each other physically and actually had a duel. I would have really loved that. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.